The Switch 2 is the shiny new kid on the block. It has some of the most recognisable and well-loved franchises in the entire gaming market. And it undercuts the other home console competitors from Sony and Microsoft by around £100. Granted, dumbass tariffs in other markets changed that for some, and Xbox have really changed that recently, but here in the UK, £100 less than the competition is a powerful position. That being said, there is stiff competition for the device, especially when looking at handhelds. So, do you pre-purchase a Switch 2, or is one of these competitors, a PC handheld or a PlayStation Portal, a much better option? If we're being 100% honest before diving into the nitty-gritty, none of these devices are comparable to the others. Switch 2 will be a home console. A PC handheld is exactly that, a PC in a handheld form factor. And the PlayStation Portal is technically an accessory for the PS5 with standalone features in only 30 countries. So why even pit these three against each other? Well, these devices are all within the same sort of price range. These devices all play games in a handheld manner, and all have some big pros and some big cons. When you as a consumer are looking to spend between £300 and £400 on just a gaming device, these are the most diverse options in the price bracket. And diversity for a consumer is the ideal marketplace. So let's start by looking at the new guy, the Nintendo Switch 2. When posting this video, we are before the launch of the Switch 2, so the majority of us, myself included, have not gone hands-on with the console. Thankfully, through the Switch 2 Direct, interviews and reports thereafter, we know quite a bit about the device to inform a purchasing decision. The Switch 2 is a hybrid home console just like its predecessor. This means it can be played both handheld and docked for television play. In handheld mode, it offers 1080p visuals at up to 120 frames per second on a 7.9-inch or 20cm in real measurement screen, 60% bigger than the Switch 1. Having used similarly sized and spec'd devices before, two of which feature in this video, this will be an incredible handheld experience if the Switch 2's chipset is capable of leveraging those specs. When docked, the Switch 2 offers up to 4K visuals and up to 60 frames per second. Again, this comes with the caveat of, if the chipset is capable of that. Why is the chipset such a heavy caveat? Well, the Switch 2 will be packing an updated Tegra chip that powered both the Switch 1 and the failed Ouya console from 2013. In both cases, the chip ran games, but only rarely at the marketing spiel fidelity and frames. Often, the Switch games fell far below these maximum levels, sometimes barely scraping double digits in terms of frames per second. Therefore, being sensible about our expectations of the upcoming product and expecting less than the market maximums will avoid potential disappointment with the Switch 2 performance. In terms of controlling the device, a multitude of options are available. Accessories from Switch 1 will work with Switch 2, so Pro controllers, third-party controllers, plug docks, Joy-Cons, though only by Bluetooth, and more will control and work with the Switch 2. There will be new accessories for the new device, filling many of the same use cases as with the original. But there is also a camera attachment and a built-in microphone that will see gameplay use in titles like Mario Party. Out of the box though, the Switch 2 will come with all that you need to use it. The new Joy-Cons magnetically attach to the sides this time, and they come with a mouse-type interface that can be used to navigate the console and in certain games. You have the core of the console with that great-looking screen, chipset, circuit board, cooling, and so on in the middle, the dock, and all the cables. Like any other home console, it's ready for use out of the box. The console itself, for its included specs, isn't a bad price. It's priced at £395, which is a similar figure to the Pro consoles of the 8th generation, the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X. For that price, it also offers similar performance with 4K visuals to a television and 60 frames per second. Like the PS4 Pro, this will be achieved by resolution upscaling, and it will be Nvidia's PC solution of DLSS that will be used to achieve that, though an older version than that is available in PCs currently. In handheld, it goes blow for blow with many of the PC handheld devices at a similar price point, and even outclasses a few. With a beautifully saturated 120Hz screen, your gameplay is going to look super smooth, even if only running at 60 frames per second. Isn't screen tech magical? At 20 centimeters diagonally corner to corner, it offers a very similar sized screen to the PlayStation Portal, with similar panel tech too. And to the naked eye, that's going to look incredible. Boasting similar battery life to the original Switch, it isn't going to be a long flight companion, but it's going to last far longer than the 30 minutes that a ROG Ally lasts on AAA games at low to medium settings. You also have to think that you have a super easy 2-in-1 situation here. While many of the PC handhelds can do both handheld and docked play just like the Switch, to achieve that, they need additional accessories not included with the device purchase. Everything from the dock itself to HDMI cables, wireless controllers, and maybe even power supplies need to be purchased separately with PC handhelds. When controllers alone range from £60 to £300 to purchase, suddenly the Switch 2 hardware seems like a steal. It's similar with those 8th generation home consoles. Neither the One X nor the PS4 Pro can go with you and be played on the go without some mental DIY project or remote play. While remote play is incredible, it requires stable internet connections on either end to work at all, and then everyone's experience can vary drastically. While you can take your console's controller with you for remote play, that can be a bit cumbersome, so a mobile controller like this Backbone One might be warranted. But again, that's an additional expense that the Switch 2 just doesn't come with. It will be backwards compatible, so most Switch 1 games will work with it, and some will even run better. The major difference is the after-purchase cost for the Switch 2. Because if you haven't owned a Switch 1, this is where challenges start with the Switch 2. There is a game available at launch called Welcome Tour, which shows you how to use the console and has a bunch of minigames leveraging the uniqueness of the new console. It is essentially the Nintendo version of PlayStation's Astro's Playroom. The difference being, Astro was included and remains included 5 years later with every PS5 console, whereas Welcome Tour is a purchasable game not included with the console. There is a £7.99 or $10 extra charge to get the interactive user manual. Let that comment sink in. Atop a £395 console price, you're now over £400 just to get the console and learn how to use it. And if you want any additional games thereafter, then you best get saving, because they're going to cost you anywhere from £60 or $70 all the way through to £80 or $90, depending how Nintendo feel about charging for that specific title. And judging by the Switch 1, where Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey still cost £60 and £50 respectively, the same as they did at launch in 2017, games will not get cheaper over time. Even second-hand, Odyssey is still going for £30 to £40. 7 years later. If the Joy-Cons included with your console break, get lost, or develop the plague of Switch 1 Joy-Cons, stick drift, you're looking at £75 for a replacement pair. It's £30 for the plastic grip to make Joy-Cons like a standard controller. That was included with the Switch 1. You need a special memory card now, and they start at £50 for a mere 256GB of storage. And those silly plastic wheels we've had since the Wii? They're now £17 for a circular piece of plastic. Voice chat is locked behind a paywall, which makes no sense considering even Sony don't charge for voice chat, and they'll try and charge for anything. The GameCube emulation shown off at that Direct is behind an even higher paywall than voice chat. And the cheapest available camera that sits in the top USB-C slot of the console is nearly £40. The console itself is very well priced for the included specs and performance, but the cost thereafter is higher than we have seen anywhere else in the industry. It's not unreachable levels of cost, but nor are any of these aftermarket prices easily attainable either. Everything has to be weighed, measured, and accounted for, and for many, this will mean that the Switch 2 would be a far more barren generation in terms of playable games than the Switch 1. Which, granted, is a common and heartfelt complaint from competitors as well, but do Nintendo want that to be the conversation around the Switch 2? because of their pricing structures and not a lack of content? And can you as the consumer stretch to those prices rather than putting food on the table? So what about the alternatives? Well, in the same price bracket you have this PC handheld. This particular one is the Asus ROG Ally, the original from 2023. I picked this one up brand new for £372, which just so happens to be over £20 cheaper than the Nintendo Switch 2. You can find similar deals for similarly spec'd competitors like the Lenovo Legion Go if you look around a bit. This device acts as an all-in-one PC. Your inputs, screen, GPU, CPU, etc. are all housed in this one body. It runs the full Windows 11 operating system, which gives it some huge similarities to the Switch 2, such as the ability to use mouse input, external controllers, the embedded inputs. It has an embedded microphone, it can use external cameras, it can even play Switch 1 games. Where it goes beyond the Switch 2 though, is that it is a full PC. This means you can do anything with it that you can do on a standard desktop or laptop. Writing this script? No problem. Live streaming PSVR 2 gameplay to YouTube, both horizontal and vertical? Once you learn how, no problem. Play games from any PC store, old discs and emulation? Easy. Video editing, emailing, photo editing, web browsing, banking. This device can do it all, and even more besides. But we're talking specifically about gaming today, so let's circle back to that. The Ally offers you so many options of where to buy games from. Steam is the biggest and most centralised, but you can purchase titles from Epic, Good Old Games, EA, Battle.net, Ubisoft, GitHub, and more. The beauty in having so much competition on where you can buy a game from means pricing for games is often far better for the consumer on PC than home consoles. Take Clair Obscura Expedition 33 as a prime example. A brand new game at the time of writing, and the highest rated game of the year. On PlayStation and Xbox, that game is £45 digitally and £50 physically. Via CD keys, another way to purchase games on PC, that said same game, the same version of the game, was £26. Or you can buy a month of PC Game Pass and play it there. On the same storefront, CD keys, Doom the Dark Ages is £50. A full £20 less than the pre-order price on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch. PC can definitely save you money on games in the long run. With the ROG Ally, you'll actually also see that screen taken full advantage of. Whether native via AMD FSR or fluid motion frames, or something like the lossless scaling app from Steam, you will have titles pushed towards or even past the 120 FPS limit of the 120Hz screen. At a 1080p 7-inch or 18cm panel too, the visuals, even if running on lower settings, look excellent to the naked eye. Upscaling, a similar feature to that on the Switch 2, is available here as well as just mentioned. Having options on how best to approach this upscaling though, is excellent. DLSS is not a magic fit-all answer, nor is FSR. But with options that also include hardware-specific options like AMD Super Resolution and fluid motion frames that work for every single game, and lossless scaling, a £5 app from Steam that works on every GPU, giving access to all upscaling engines regardless of your hardware, you're always going to eventually land on the best option for that specific game. And while USB hubs or docks may be required as an additional purchase to get the Switch-like experience, other accessories work easily with these handheld PCs. Got an old PS4 or Xbox One controller? You can use that with a handheld PC. Your favourite Bluetooth headphones? Easily used. Use a tablet as a wireless second screen? Heck, that's built into Android. A 3-device-in-1 folding keyboard like this one, with a mouse touchpad? Easy as. While not completely open as an operating system, with Windows being the most prolific PC OS on the planet, tools, apps, accessories, connections, essentially most if not everything that you may want to add to the Ally or Legion Go or competitors to make it work as you want it to, will most of the time work just fine. And these things are upgradable too. I've got a bigger and faster M.2 drive in mine. I will be installing a larger battery modification, and you can change and increase the RAM as well. Something not easily achievable with home consoles. It's not totally rosy on the PC side. It is, after all, a PC, and they will always do weird and wonderful things when you least want them to. Like suddenly not recognizing the controller you've been using for the last 2 hours when combat suddenly starts. Having apps interact with each other, meaning one of them doesn't accept any form of input. Freezing, crashing, randomly turning off. Most of you have used a Windows PC at this point. You know the weird challenges that come with it, that sometimes have no explanation. Like an update deleting all of your graphics drivers so no screens work at all. But if you can deal with those, admittedly quite impactful foibles, long term, a handheld PC could be the best option. But let us not overlook the outsider here, the PlayStation Portal. This is the weird child of the three options that we're looking at today, because it doesn't play any games natively. Launched as an accessory for the PlayStation 5, the Portal is essentially a screen in between two halves of the DualSense controller, with a modem included for internet access. It has all of the features of a standard DualSense controller, which includes haptic feedback, resistive triggers, built-in speakers and a microphone for online play. The Portal just happens to have a screen included and the absence of Bluetooth connectivity. This setup allows a few benefits for the Portal that go beyond the other two options in this video. Because this isn't running any games natively, the weight of the device is far lower than either the Switch 2 or any PC handheld. This means it doesn't weigh in the hand the same as its price point competitors, which in turn means it's easier to hold on to for extended periods of play. Because you aren't having to jam all of this hardware inside to actually run the games, it means the device can be far more ergonomic too. To a point where I now feel that this ergonomic footprint of the Portal is the blueprint that every handheld gaming device being launched in the future should try to achieve. It is that much more comfortable than any other handheld. This design also means battery life beyond the competition. We're talking between 3 and 7 hours of battery life depending how much DualSense feedback a title entails. You can get nearly 10 hours of battery life though, if you turn those features right down or even off. Slightly defeating the point of the device if you do that, but the option is there in a pinch. The screen is the biggest of the three devices that we're looking at today, at a full 8 inches or 20.3 centimeters, offering 1080p visuals, the same as the other two in handheld mode, but it also offers the lowest refresh rate, topping out at 60 Hz, half of the other two. Unlike the other two devices, the Portal cannot be docked to a television for big screen play. This is a handheld device only, and as already mentioned, there are no games playable on the device natively. So, what does it do, and why would you pick this over the other options? If you are already a PlayStation 5 owner, the Portal might be more attractive to you as it does remote play to the console. This means all updates, rendering, network connections, and save data are handled by the PlayStation 5 console. But the game is shown on the Portal remotely, and that then handles the controller input too over an internet connection. It means the player doesn't have to choose which platform to buy and play a game on. Just buy on the PS5 and have the option to play anywhere with the Portal. No need to worry about features like cross-save when looking to purchase a game. The PlayStation Portal, however, at least in 30 countries, offers the cheapest entry point into the PlayStation ecosystem with cloud gaming. If you live in one of these countries on screen right now, you can play cloud-based games on the Portal. Now, everybody's experience with cloud gaming varies, but for the most part, if you were to buy a PlayStation Portal today and purchase PlayStation Plus Premium for a year, you would be able to play over 150 titles, including some of PlayStation's best experiences, for less money than just purchasing the ROG Ally or Switch 2 hardware. Okay, that setup comes with an annual fee. PlayStation Plus Premium is £120 per year. But the Switch has annual charges to play online as well, and they charge for voice chat. And while that fee does include games, they are emulated NES and SNES titles, not current-gen titles like God of War Ragnarok and Returnal that you get with the Portals option. In my experience, cloud has been the best way to play the Portal so far, and currently, the service is still in a beta phase, so it is constantly updating, improving, and evolving with ever more user input and feedback. At £320 to buy the handheld and get access to a year's worth of games, you're undercutting the competition by a long way, saving yourself money and giving yourself more gaming experiences. But if you live in one of the 165 other recognised countries in the world, then you only get half of this device because you don't get access to cloud gaming. When you then consider that the Portal in that scenario is a £200 remote play device, and you can pick up a top-of-the-line mobile controller, like the Backbone One, for only £100, and create your own version of the Portal with better data connections, just by using the phone that you already own, the Portal suddenly loses all relevance in the conversation. Because why would you pay more money to do less? So which device should you buy? Because these devices are not directly comparable, this isn't as simple as this device is better than that one. All of these devices offer pros and cons. I'm in a fortunate position where come the 5th of June, I will have all three. But that's not a realistic situation for the majority of gamers. Most can only afford one of the options. The cheapest option up front is the Portal. And if you both already have a PlayStation 5 and live in one of the 30 countries with cloud gaming, then the Portal is an excellent and expansive option to bolster your existing experience. It will likely even mean that you play and complete more games, with more options of how and when to play. Keeping trophy hunts going appeals to a surprisingly large quota of PlayStation gamers too, so the Portal is a fairly easy recommendation to them, even as just a remote play device, with it being simpler to start and use than the aforementioned phone option. It's also an easy recommendation to those who don't own a PS5 but live in a cloud gaming region and they want PlayStation Studios experiences. It is cheaper, easier, and often runs better than on PC. For those looking to play a wider variety of titles though, and spend less money while doing it, with no requirement to pay annual fees, then a handheld PC is the better option. Alright, you're probably taking a resolution hit in most titles, but the ability to do so much more with the rest of the device trumps the limitations gaming may face. If you want ease and quality of experience, the Switch, while being the most expensive long-term option, is the best choice. It now offers the family gaming that the company has been known for over the last decade or so, while also offering more mature titles on par with the rest of the industry. It might just be that full family console after all. With games still mostly physically purchasable, you'll only rarely lose access to a game that you have bought as long as you own the cartridge, something neither of the other options supplies. The reality is that buying one of these devices is a truly personal decision. You know what types of games you like. You know how much you're willing to spend for those games. And if the most expensive option anywhere in the industry in the Switch 2 is best for you, you will find a way to make it happen. If, however, you are on the fence, I hope that this outline of the devices can at least help you come to some form of decision. This video was produced after ownership of both the Asus ROG Ally and PlayStation Portal, purchased personally by Doragon. The Nintendo Switch 2 is pre-launch at the time of production, and all included information has been pulled from Nintendo Directs, press releases, and interviews. None of the three companies know that this video is being made. They do not get any copy approval or early preview of its contents. If they do see it, they will see it for the first time right alongside you. I would like to thank you all so much for tuning in, and a special thanks to channel members for their additional support. I hope you guys enjoy your early access to all long-form content and monthly Members Cast exclusive content. Not a member yet? You too can get early and exclusive access via the join button below once you've subscribed. If you've liked this video, I think these will also be of interest to you. In the meantime, my name is Doragon. You can find me sparingly on socials at Doragon86 or daily in the Discord in the description. And until next time, folks, have yourselves a fantastic day. And take care.